Good morning. I'm Kristen Van Dyke, and this is New Mexico Style. Nikki is out sick today. Hopefully she'll be back in tomorrow morning. But let's go ahead and get checked in with Mike Powers now for the very latest on the Las Conchas fire. Mike?
Okay, Kristen, thank you very much. Of course, that fire has been burning since Sunday, and it really has exploded. We just have new information in from Los Alamos County officials. Kristen mentioned about 60,000 acres has now burned in and around that area. Officials there say they are in good shape as far as the water supply is concerned, but they are very concerned about the Los Alamos ski hill area. What officials are saying is that firefighters describe spotting areas in the Pajarito mountain vicinity. They report fire across the ski hill, a slowly creeping fire from across the top of Pajarito Canyon, rimming the fire near Camp May. So that's some of the information from Los Alamos officials. They do remind us that New Mexico 502 westbound into Los Alamos is closed to all except official motorists there. Now, News 13's David Romero has been live with us since yesterday in Los Alamos. He joins us now with an update on what he sees there. David?
Well, Mike, you know, it's not only just the hazard of fire coming into town, but what's left of the remnants of it, that's the smoke. Right now, I'm going to give you guys a live look at what has happened since we were live this morning on Channel 13. Was earlier we could see the mountains. Now it's just totally engulfed in smoke, and that's because the two mountain ridges with the Pajarito ski basin between them have that's where the fire is concentrated at right now, and it's been at that spot for about the last 3 or 4 hours, and it hasn't moved that much, which is good news for the firefighters. But within the last 2 hours, the winds have started to pick up and the heat is starting to come in throughout the day. Now, the smoke has drifted back in an easterly direction, and it is blanketing the town of Los Alamos right now. That is a hazard for residents that have remained here in town. The Los Alamos County officials have estimated that about 2,000 people remain here, even though they have a mandatory evacuation underway.
All right, Dave, well, thank you on that. And again, one of the officials in Los Alamos says, look, if these people are going to stay, you know, they're really putting their own lives in risk. They're hoping to keep the fire out of the city, of course, and they've done a great job of that so far. As far as how many people you're seeing, are you only seeing official workers and New Mexico National Guard, police and firefighters? Are those the only people you're seeing in the city right now?
Other than the occasional car driven by a resident right now, that's about all that's passing through the streets here in town. We've seen a number of Hummers from the New Mexico National Guard being driven through here. Of course, a lot of members from the Los Alamos Fire Department, Los Alamos Police. Right now there's at least one resident who's about ready to cross the street here behind us. He has a bandana over his face. Obviously this gentleman has chosen to stay here, but he's taking that kind of precaution. But you made a valid point there, Mike, that this is pretty hazardous to people's health to be in this kind of conditions right now. The fire chief has reassured us that they are sending out task force members right now through the areas of neighborhoods that are most threatened, which are on the west side of town, closest to the mountain. They're also going to have a task force go through the Los Alamos National Labs here. They're going to try and inspect the area there and try and make sure that those buildings are secure, as well as the homes that are possibly threatened.
Now, we haven't heard anything about anybody. What happens if police come up on somebody who doesn't want to leave? They're not making anyone, they're not forcing anyone out that you have heard. Are they, David?
No, we haven't heard that yet, Mike. If the conditions do worsen, we imagine that it could come to that. The fire chief did not discuss that earlier this morning. We're hoping to get an update here from the Joint Information Center up in Santa Fe. That's where all the information is being funneled out of, and that's where we get it and we pass it along to the viewers. Another thing we want to mention too is that the winds are not helping the efforts. That was one of the things that the fire chief told us is their biggest issue that could change things. Right now it does seem calm, but as the day goes on, if for some reason the winds shift directions, it could send the flames into another area that hasn't been burned. Right now, the area that's on fire on top of those two mountains has was burned in the 2000 Cerro Grande fire. The fire chief also mentioned that the reason that it's able to burn right now was because not all the fuels in that area were consumed back in 2000, so that's primarily what's burning up there right now.
You know, David, on the News 13 News this morning, you had some very dramatic live shot with the flames burning behind you in the hills. We don't see that now. Obviously, the smoke is covering up a lot of that. Do you see any flamage, if you will, from your location at this time?
There's nothing visible at this point, Mike. Even just looking behind us right now, everything is just totally socked in with smoke. We can't even see, we can barely actually make out on the top of the right mountain where there is obviously something burning at this time. You can see it's primarily thicker in that one spot. As for anything on the other side, north of there, we cannot make that out because it's just so engulfed at this time, and that, like I said, that that smoke has come down here into the city. Trying to see if there's any other evidence of it. We want to mention too that these flames are about 3 to 4 miles from city buildings. That's all in a straight line. They would have to go down into a canyon and then come back, go down into that canyon, and then before they finally reach buildings here in Los Alamos.
All right, David Romero reporting live from Los Alamos. David, I know you'll be back later in the show. Appreciate that update for us. Thank you so much, and be careful out there, okay?
You got it.
All right. A couple of other notes we want to pass along. Again, reiterating, the fire is now, Las Conchas Fire, now about 60,000 acres. There are local and Type 1 fire crews that are battling the fire, which is now affecting the Los Alamos Ski Hill area. If you live in that area and you have questions or you need information, you're encouraged to dial 311. Several area shelters have been set up, including one at the Cities of Gold Hotel in Pewaukee. They'll take evacuees, and they'll take your pets as well. So that's a pretty good deal as well. In addition to Los Alamos being evacuated and in effect closed, the lab is closed as well for a second straight day. The White Rock and Cochiti communities are on a voluntary evacuee notice there. So we'll continue to update this throughout the show with new information, and I know Kristen has more of that right now. Kristen?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we're going to continue to keep you updated throughout New Mexico Style, and more on the fires. The Food Depot, Northern New Mexico's food bank, is launching efforts to collect items for fire evacuees. Suggested donations include bottled water, handheld snacks like granola, trail mix, breakfast bars, protein foods such as peanut butter and beef jerky, and dried beans, rice, and pasta, and toiletry items are also in demand, as well as toilet tissue, napkins, plates, and plastic cutlery. Clothing and household items are not being accepted. Donations will be collected at the Food Depot in Santa Fe, and that's located at 1222 Seiler Road. And anyone who wants to get involved in the disaster relief drive can just call 505-471-1633 extension 12. And some good news here, Heritage Hotels and Resorts is offering discounted rooms to evacuees from the Las Conchas fire. The 3 Santa Fe hotels are Hotel Plaza Real, Hotel St. Francis, and The Lodge. The numbers and websites here are on the screen, so 1-877, well, that number there, we'll make sure we have that up on the website too. And also, whenever you go in, you want to make sure to ask for the promotional code DISTRESS. Room rates start at $79. And the Espanola Valley Humane Society is accepting evacuated animals from the Las Conchas fire. The shelter is an available option if you need to evacuate and can't take your pets with you. They are also providing a staging ground for any livestock except cattle that need to be evacuated, and continue to build a list of people in the community who are offering barn space to help with evacuated livestock. And for more information on that, just call 505-753-8662. And also keep in mind that the average cost of stay for a pet at the Humane Society is $130, so donations to the shelter can be made online at www.evalleyshelter.org. And we also have an update on the Bosque fire near Belen that started over the weekend. The 346 fire broke out Sunday afternoon in the Bosque along the Valencia County Socorro line, and 3 homes were destroyed there, and number of outbuildings also burned. Investigators say the 125-acre blaze was human-caused. Right now it's 25% contained. And also I wanted to mention the wildfire still burning northeast of Santa Fe has scorched 15 square miles of forest, and just 10% of that is contained. And of course the Wallow Fire, Arizona's biggest wildfire in history, is now 82% contained after burning through 500,000 acres. And